do the VA, we're talking about a total of 81,000 jobs that the VA losing. The healthcare template that we need for Medicare for all is the Veterans Administration. And when I tell that to the doctors and the nurses and the administrative and all the people there that in the VA in the Seattle and also in American Lakes here in Washington, when they hear me say that, they say, "Oh my gosh, I'm for it, David. I'm for it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're so right." You know, and that they want to see health care for all. They know how important it is to people like that don't have health care, that need to have that, who can't afford what they're out there getting right now. And so we need to make sure we've got 17% on the profit guys, and they're that's $200 billion a year.
And
Two
that's
hundred
17% before you already figure out, 1,000% markup on some medication.
That's
It's
right.
once you start taking little pieces out of this, out of this equation, right? It shows how absolutely corrupt it is. You can buy the exact same life-saving medication in Canada, right, for $10 that they're charging you $1,000 a prescription in the States for, and then they take 25% off, right, and then you pay your fees. I have never been to another country that has pharmaceutical commercials in between. Like, ask your doctor about, what you're sick with. Like, that's such a weird thing. I've never seen that. Not in England, not in Australia, not in New Zealand. I have never, ever, ever seen that
It's not in
anywhere else but in
Pakistan
the States.
or Dubai either. It's not in Pakistan or Dubai either because my husband's from there and he's like, this is so odd.
But these guys spend more.
I'm
They
telling you to
spend
go take these medicines.
the U.S.
I'm telling you
taxpayer.
to go take them.
The U.S. taxpayer subsidizes their research, and then they use that research for advertising money. They'll spend way more and I mean billions more in advertising than they will in research to cure the disease. Cuba has had a lung cancer vaccine since 2010.
And they give it to the inmates
And
for free in Guantanamo.
that's not conspiracy theory. That's not, you can type that shit into Google right now and see the countless. Cuba has literally had a lung cancer vaccine since 2010. Now, but imagine, you're telling me that Cuba, under every single possible sanction that you can imagine, can come up with a lung cancer vaccine, but we're pumping tens of billions of dollars into the pharmaceutical industry. They haven't came out with a cancer vaccine at all.
And the people in Guantanamo Bay are getting help
Yeah, there's
for
like the
free
human
too. Like I know them
papillomavirus. There was some
following
other
the
things that they've
diseases.
come out with, but nowhere near what they should for the amount that we're spending. When it comes to some of these issues, yeah, fine. What, you can call the Castro whatever you want. The motherfucker's been dead for over a decade.
Yeah.
Everybody involved in the Cuban blah 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 blahs has been dead for decades. Nobody involved in that shit is even alive. So why are we still doing this? Oh, there is no argument. No argument.
But and I just want to put this out. Okay, I just want to put this out. I want to put this out here too. That since the Cuban Missile Crisis, okay, uh, we have had one president that I actually really like since the Cuban Missile Crisis, and that his name is James Earl Carter, and he was my commander in chief. Okay, yes, he didn't handle the hostage thing right, but when you have a at number 40, Ronald Reagan, well, if you when you have somebody like him and you have a traitor like Oliver North, saying that we'll give you a better deal on weaponry and everything. You just don't do anything with
It's kind
service.
of crazy to think about, right? Because that whole
Yeah.
thing was that that they got in trouble for selling weapons for oil, and now, right, secretly, and now that's the standard. That's all we do is
Yeah.
sell weapons for oil. That is the standard,
Yeah.
right? Like that's what's crazy to think about. Some of the things that we're outraged on, right? Nixon recording, right?
And all
Recording
these things,
people, but
all of
that's kind of the point. In that, right
yeah,
now, you have to record everything. Every part of the White House is recorded 24/7, 365. We don't get to hear it, right? But it's all
yeah.
recorded.
And everything that we're experiencing today is a direct result of our leadership being bought, being bought. And I don't take any corporation money. I don't have a super PAC, you know. So I mean, I gave back lots of money before Hong Kong fell under CCP rule. I mean, I gave back a lot of money that was coming into the campaign in 2016, 2018. I gave it all back because I could not verify citizenship. And unlike politicians today that are out there now, they, oh, you got money for me? Okay, sure, do that for you.
Oh, they don't care. They don't care. They
They
don't
don't care.
care.
They don't care. They don't care. It is right. But I did care. I did care. I do care. I mean, I want the people to know that the representative that they're putting in office is one that's going to hear their voice and is going to answer the phone, is going to return their call, is going to send an email back that they sent to me. Okay. We don't have that. There's very few that are out there. And I want to be that one that stands out. I want I want to be like I said earlier. Okay. I will bring to the floor a bill to be voted on, whether it's approved or not. I want to bring a bill to the floor for Medicare for all. Medicare for all is what I want to bring to the floor. And I know that there's some good people out there with the red berets, et cetera. And I know that the people that are working with me now are just as good and able to contribute and come up with the ideas that we need to make Medicare for all work. But we don't have
It only really takes one. I don't think a lot of the
yeah,
Democrats will be able to vote against it. I really don't. Like
yeah,
that's the end. Whoever that's if it's a close race, that will lose them their election. Now there's certain of them. So the neoliberals, they're fine with losing an election. They'll make more money running for office than they will winning an election. If they have to win an election, they're expected to do something. If they just run, they collect all the money and then walk away. Right? They can fight against the Republican, blah blah blah, but their goal is not to win the election. Their goal is to collect up the donations for running for election.
well,
Andrew Yang is a great example of that, right? He doesn't run to win elections. He runs to raise the donations for an election.
I'm sometimes I'm pretty vocal, folks. I have a temper. Okay. But I've watched it. I've watched all this stuff. I've watched it. I've grown up with it. Okay. If it wasn't for, if the Kent State shootings is what prompted me to do what? Join the Marine Corps. I mean, the My Lai massacre, another reason why I joined the Marine Corps. Okay. That was not our nation to go in and
Well,
obliterate
and it's
a
something
place.
that I didn't even really think about, right, until I was way older, right? I joined the
Mhm.
military at 19 and I got healthcare. And then when I got out, the VA gave me healthcare. I really didn't think about it. And then when I look at other people that, didn't have that same experience, I'm like, well, why don't they have it work fine, right? Like it doesn't have to be just expand that to everyone else. That completely makes sense to me. And I really didn't in my travels, it wasn't outside of the United States. This isn't an issue. I got hurt in Vietnam, not during the war. I was traveling in Vietnam. We were building hospitals, and I got sick. And I was worried to go to the hospital. Right? I'm an American. Blah 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 blah. And you literally just walk in and they treat you. That's it.
Yeah.
Right, I got a tooth removed in New Zealand, and I felt like completely weird. Like they gave me the bill for it, and I was shocked. You know, I kept on shaking people's hands and thanking them. I think to have my teeth removed and everything was $100
What?
total. And I was like, oh, thank you know, like literally shaking everybody's hands like they did me a favor, and they're looking at me like I'm a crazy person. Like, what? This is just life, man.
They don't have health care for all there in America. That's why he's so grateful.
Yeah, but most people have you know, they've grown up on it, so grown up in it. So like not having health care for all is what seems insane. Like what, you just don't take care of your sick people? Like that whole, it doesn't make sense to them in the same way that Medicare for all just doesn't seem to make sense to capitalist scum. Like, but people are sick. How can I not make money off of that?
A lot of people don't understand that you're only as strong as your weakest in your nation. So if your weakest is homeless and on the street and no health care and not taken care of, then your nation's weak.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, yeah, you just die. Sorry.
You
Right?
you find a cardboard box and you just let it go.
And crawl in it. And crawl in it. Go find a cardboard box and crawl in it. It's basically what
Only
you
for
are.
a little bit. They'll start tear gassing you and tasering you. So if you don't even know where to
Yeah, but
live,
leaving
they'll
you once
spend
you come
$100,000
out.
to beat the fuck out of you.
You know, one thing, folks, one thing that I would like to go over, and that is, the reason we're here, and that was Medicare for all, and the difference
Yes.
between Medicare for all and uh, healthcare for profit is 17%. That's the difference. That's the difference. And
Well, I mean,
people,
that's the difference at the very very top, right?
yeah,
That's the difference. That just when you're walking in the door, it doesn't matter what you are, they're going to take 17%. But you're getting fucked over all the way down the system,
yeah,
right? Like that's
you know,
not. It's not just that. It's
Exactly.
not just one tiny spot at 17%. That would almost be acceptable, right? But you're getting 17%, and then you're paying 1,000 to 10,000% markup, right? You're paying for medications that you don't need. You're paying for medications that you can only get from certain, because you have a certain list of medications that you can choose from. Like you're getting screwed over all the way down the line, and 17%.
yeah. Now, this is what this is what
Well, it's what you look. It's because it doesn't. The focus doesn't matter. If we woke up tomorrow and spent what we were going to spend, I don't know, occupying Syria, right? So let's say roughly $500 billion, right? If you took that $500 billion, right, and focused specifically on curing a single disease, you could do it, but you're not going to do that. You're going to take the $500 billion, pay a bunch of your friends, and then spend 450 million of it or billion of it to advertise.
yeah.
Look, you could stop funding biomedical research altogether, right? There is no difference between finding a cure for a disease, right, and creating a bioweapon. Exact same state of the art facility is needed. You could end all funding, right, for making bioweapons and have those brilliant scientists do nothing but focus on cures for diseases. You could do that tomorrow. Not going to, but you could. If you're
This
going to
is one.
spend $1 trillion to think up new ways to kill people, you can spend $1 trillion to find ways to save people. It's really what you choose to do.
I, I'm
Right?
I'm all for I'm all for Medicare for all. I've supported the Red Berets. This badge right here says Whole Washington. It's one of their original badges that they had, and I got that in 2016 when I ran for Senate the first time. Um, what I'd like to bring out is the fact that one, uh, I receive excellent health care, from the Veterans Administration. I receive excellent health care. August of 21, the first week of August 21, I was told by my primary at American Lakes to get my butt up to Seattle, that they were waiting for me. And she did not elaborate or tell me. She just said that they're waiting on me, and how fast could I get there. And so I just figured I could get there in 25, 30 minutes. Well, I took my sweet ass time about getting things ready and getting things that I had to get done around the house before I spend the rest of my day in Seattle. I got up there 2 hours later. I sat in the emergency room, checked in, and they checked me in and admitted me to the hospital. But during that week I was staying there, they did all kinds of tests on me and everything else. And near the end of the week, um, they told me that I had stage 4 lung cancer. And then they gave me a death sentence, basically,
Well, and
how
how much had that cost you so far?
nothing except my time.
And that's the
The
important part, because most people, when you walk in and tell them it doesn't matter what you is, right? Whether you have or don't have a death sentence is directly proportional to how much money you have.
during that time, once they told me that I had 8 months to live, they told me, I went home and I prayed about it. And 45 days later, my chemo and radiation started all at the same time. I did not have any side effects. I did not have any need for opioids or other medications. I was prescribed those type of things just in case I needed them, but I didn't. Okay, I had excellent health care. I had doctors who were actually listening to me, and they knew that I was using cannabis. They knew that I was using cannabis as an alternative for pain and medication. And near the end, they asked me what was my dosage for the cannabis, because the director of the Veterans Administration was going to cut off all people using cannabis in regards to treatment and receiving VA health care. And my daughter, my youngest daughter, who is a veterans advocate, she says, "Dad, it looks like you got the fight that you wanted." Well, if the director is not going to stand up to Congress and the Senate to the cuts that they're wanting to do to the VA, because they're wanting to privatize this, if they make those cuts, 71 to 80,000 people are going to lose their jobs. And some of those thousands are going to lose their jobs are people who helped bring my life around. Now, that was in 2021. Here in 2023, I don't have one single living cancer cell in my body. I don't have one legal living cancer
Ring a
cell in my
body.
body.
Ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding,
Ring
ding,
that
ding, ding,
bell.
ding.
Now,
Ding, ding,
okay.
ding.
And
Good
you're
health
not
care,
$300,000 in debt.
dollar.
You didn't have to
No,
mortgage your home,
no.
right? You didn't have to sell all of your stuff. You didn't have to sell your family heirlooms. Like most people, if you don't have healthcare, right? And even a lot of places, if you have good healthcare, you start off with healthcare and then you get cancer, and they're all like, "Look, it's still going to cost you $200,000. Mortgage your house."
In 2018, they took a kidney out. I had a kidney. They diagnosed me with kidney cancer. Okay. So that was the first time that I had cancer. And did it, was I jovial? Was I down in the pits and everything else? No, no, I wasn't. I knew that I had good people taking care of me. Okay. Like they took care of the rest of the veterans that were there as well. And that is what I'm trying to talk about. The single payer healthcare for Medicare is just what I experienced in the VA. And there's no reason that we can't transfer that model over to Medicare for all for the 250 million people here in this nation. Okay. I don't see why we can't. There's no
Yeah,
reason why
I
we
mean, there's no doubt we can afford it. There's no
that's
doubt that the
why
people want it. Just our leadership is unwilling to bring it to the floor.
that's
That is
why
really,
I
it's
said
not, that's the only thing holding us back. That is the only thing holding us back. The people are united on this one. The people have spoken on this one. The people voted on this one. We put these politicians in office, right? All of the progressives specifically and only to bring Medicare for all to the floor, and they
Vote
ignored
for
us.
David Strider to bring whatever needs to the floor.
Did you ever
Vote
kick
for
out
David
your
Strider.
website? Did you ever kick out your website?
Did.
We are going to kick that out right now, and that is David Strider for Senate.com. Now, if you want to put it into, you want to do the like the IT geek that I am, HTTPS what is it, semicolon, and then // maybe I should put this down in the comments, but it's David Strider for Senate.com, and look it up. And there are issues there. It has our cover page, and it'll tell you a little bit about my winning against cancer. But the main thing is that it's going to show you the different issues. Number one is the veterans healthcare, and then followed by healthcare for all. That's number two on the list. And it just goes down, and we talk about the things that are most prevalent to the people in this nation. And so, yes, David Strider for Senate. I will put a bill on the floor the first time I am in the Senate and have been sworn in. I will make sure that a bill is there with me that same day that I'm swearing in, that will be presented to the floor. I promise you that.
Yeah, I believe him. I believe him. Don't let me down.
No, sir, I won't. No, sir, I
Don't
won't.
let us down, Dave. Like with like it
No.
is like before I got kicked off, it is the one things besides legalization. It is the one thing that Americans overwhelmingly agree on. Left, right, and center. It doesn't like there is no other issue that we care that much about.
Mhm. Exactly. And it
So
benefits the whole nation. It benefits the whole nation, each and
and
every
everybody can see it
newborn.
except for those being paid not to.
And I will have to open their eyes, won't I, brother?
I think we just need to just right away. I'll hold the door for you.
17,
Right.
17.
They're gonna stop you. I'll just block on the way in, get you to that podium to bring it to the floor, like hold it above your head.
17, 17 versus the one. Which one do you want to do? Do you want to spend 17% of your $100 that you gave them on their profits, or do you want this just $1 that Medicare is charging? $1 that.
I mean, that's the one thing out of that statistic that got me, right? The one thing that got me was the 5 million for nonprofits, right? So
Yeah.
the head, right? The head administrator
Director.
at this at the director of these nonprofits makes 5 million a year for a nonprofit. You're not even a for-profit hospital. You're supposed to be helping people, and you're raking in 5 mil. I could say, look, 500,000. All right, man. Like you're the head of a nonprofit. You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be ultra wealthy off of that.
That's right.
It's something I said a million times, right? You cannot be an activist, right, and rich. Once you're rich, you're no longer an activist. Quit pretending,
Oh, and you know
right?
what? This is something else that we could do also, Terrence and Pam and Harsh. You probably would get a cup of coffee. But anyway, there's something else we could do. We could put a bill on the floor to stop and put a bill that we freeze the assets of these healthcare for profits while we do a complete audit to make sure that their people didn't die, patients didn't die because the profits were a bigger issue.
I mean, some of it you don't even have to look hard. If you're a nonprofit, right, and you've got $1 billion in your coffers and you've got your real estate all over the city, chances are you're shady.
I want to be able,
You
Terrence, I want to be able to freeze their assets right there. The whole company, the whole profit for healthcare. I want to freeze
well, and
their profit. I want to freeze their profits while we are doing an audit on them.
we brought At the change of the Industrial Revolution,
You're going to
Why
get
we
the
not
audit.
brought
just
all of these.
You're going to get the audit, or you're going to approve health care, Medicare for all. You're either
We
going to get
brought
the
no.
audit.
You're getting audited. You're getting audited anyway. It's not a debate like that. That's kind
No,
of the
no,
problem. Is
no,
we always want to.
no.
There's a bad dynamic in that the corporate elite assume that our government works for them and not the other way around.
Well, I just have to put the screws to them. Oh, for God, we were supposed to do that 24 months.
Whatever I want to,
And
right?
it's
That's
not
fine.
like they're,
But you're
it's
supposed to
not
be
like
a
they're using
nonprofit
that
helping
for
people.
homeless too. They're not building homeless shelters either to get
A
the
lot of
homeless
these
out.
hospitals, and nonprofits own houses, but it's for their real estate business. It's not that they're helping anybody. They're just making money off of real estate.
We lost 20 homes here in the Hilltop area here in Tacoma to parking lots for multi-care. For parking lots for multi-care, 20 affordable housing units for families. Okay, not just but families. They lost those homes. They were bulldozed. They were bulldozed. Okay, and so we lost 20 affordable homes there on Hilltop, and the Hilltop area has been gentrified so much that the original people who lived there, it was a red line district. Those people have lost everything because they couldn't afford the taxes that kept going up and up and up and up. Thank you, City Council, here in the city of Tacoma. And so we've lost homes to healthcare for all, not healthcare for all, but to the profit uh, organizations.
Well, and when you at
Multi,
the end of the day they bulldoze them and turn them into a parking lot, which if there's
yeah,
one thing we don't need any more of, it's parking lots.
no, we don't.
Right.
Like, turn it into anything else.
No, and
I'm down in
Um,
Florida and Orlando, and oh my God, there's so many forests that got chopped down to build all these new housing projects all over the place. These like $500,000 to $1 million houses to like $5 million houses out here, and they're
all right.
everywhere.
yeah,
Oh yeah, and they'll destroy and then be completely shocked after they take down the wetlands. They're completely shocked that now the hurricanes just come straight into their city because they took away the natural buffer of the hurricanes.
Terrence, I got one more thing I'd like to say to the Medicare for All group tonight, and that is uh, visit me at our website, and if there's questions or issues that I didn't quite cover or hit upon, please contact me. Let's talk about it, and we can make uh, that happen as far as making clarity. The last thing I want to do is have too much ambiguity in what I say. I want the people to know that I'm addressing the issues that are important to them. And so, anyone that's listening in today, please, if you have issues for Medicare for All and what we talked about today, please send me your comments and so that I can address those and get a response back to you. But thank you for listening, everyone who did.
And please do contact David Strider if you have an issue or something's going on. He will take the time with you and help
Thank you.
figure out what's going on and how to correct the issues of what's been going on, no matter what your issue is. Just let him know.
Yeah, together we can figure it out.
Right.
Together we can
Collaboration,
figure it out.
more than one mind definitely helps out to think of a solution.
So true. Thank you, Pam.
You're welcome, David Strider.
Yeah, my homie from
So
Ohio.
I'm your little sis from Ohio.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can groove on that. My sister
Yeah.
from Ohio.
You're like my
Yeah.
big brother over in Washington now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'll do my best to make sure that nothing ever happens to you. Okay. Um, I can't, I can't be there all the time, but I will stand up for you in your time of need.
Thank
And
you
like I
for
wrote,
all your help so far with what you've already helped me with. It's
well, you're
been a real
welcome.
blessing to actually get some answers.
Well, we should.
All right, I'm getting the wrap it up signal on our end.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
does anybody have any information they need to give out? The website that was what, www.davidstriderforsenate.com?
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Correct.
Pam, you're down in Florida watching Elon launch all of his. We got
Yeah.
a ton of messages in here. I will go through and answer everybody's messages, everybody's comments on here. But if you've got a website or anything that you guys need to send out, please feel free to say it
All I
now.
have to say is you can get a hold of me on RoPam on Facebook or Pamela Rowbottom on Twitter or Pam Rowbottom on Instagram. Anywhere you can find me, just type in Pamela Rowbottom and I should pop up. And if you got any questions for me, please ask as well. Much love and blessings to everybody.
Make sure you check out Healing Us on the 19th this month and on the 20th. So if you can't make it on the 19th and you don't see us on the 19th at the premiere, then hit us up on the 20th. Hopefully we'll get to interview some of the people behind the scenes both days, but there's going to be more people on the second day. I'm super easy to find. I think anybody that's watching my page is watching me because they know who I am already.
And I apologize for eating during this live stream. I have not eaten anything for hours, so
You got to do what you got to
I had to
do.
eat.
I don't think this is a spot for judgment, to be honest with you.
Yeah, when you talked, I understood what you're saying. I didn't have, I
Yeah.
actually,
I tried to be man
Hey.
to have my debut.
Hey, anybody
so
that's watching, if you have a problem with Pam eating on camera,
please
shoot
let
me an
know.
email. Yeah, not just shoot me an email. I'll set you straight. No problem.
make sure she understands.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Water is life. Fuck Monsanto.
Fuck Monsanto. Water is life, y'all. Keep it clean.
Until then.
Till next time, y'all.
All right. Yeah, we're shutting it down. All right. She is done.
We are out. So hard.
Hey.
And on that note, this has been another edition of The Harsh Reality. This is Harshman. I'm going to love you. The life is harsh, but I want to live it. But actually, before we sign out, let's read some comments. Our guy High End says, this isn't this. Why are you outraged? It was never our leadership. The system isn't legitimate by design. It doesn't matter how well intended you are. This isn't our government. No nation state is created for the people. They're created for the welfare state, for the owners. The nation state is capitalism. And again, the nation state's a welfare state of the owner capitalist class. And I was telling High End, well, it's true, but I mean, in other countries, they do have policies that help people's well-being. I can't say the same for this nation. And our guy, Robert Walker, said, oh, you have cancer? Well, I can fix it, but it'll cost you more than your house is worth. It's all the little things, really, that make the big difference. And on High End says, in 247 years of this country, can someone tell me one instance where it has met its contrived ideas? There have been very few and far between. Not many. It's kind of weird. I'm kind of mixed on this because on one hand, it's like, yeah, nation states are a joke. Everyone should just own their land and that's it. But on the other hand, it's like, okay, what about the people that do need these governments to live off of? What about the people that need that can't live without it? Not everyone has the luxury that some people do. So I mean, it's always it's always a good give and take on these things. Just display the comments. Why outrage? It was never our leadership. Right. I mean, like I said, it's always good to look at these things like a piñata. You just beat it up until you get all the candy out of it. So, candy meaning, things that work for you. So, anyway, this has been another edition of The Harsh Reality. This is Harsh Love You. The life is harsh, but I also live it. And tune in tomorrow when, I do my first monologue in months. Since in about a month and a half, and about a month and a week. And we are going to be live from the Roxy Theater in Lockport tomorrow afternoon through tomorrow evening. So take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Yeah. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend. And remember, life is harsh, but I still live it.